Okay, so have you ever stared at a college financial aid offer and just felt completely lost? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most confusing parts of this whole thing, the so-called merit scholarship.
And this whole thing leads to a huge paradox, one that just stumps families left and right. It's a question that really gets to the heart of what we even think fairness is when it comes to getting into college.
All right, so here's the big question. Why on earth would a college give a massive scholarship, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars, to a student whose family can clearly afford to pay full price? Especially when another student who actually needs the money gets less. I mean, it seems totally backward, right? Well, believe it or not, there's a very calculated strategy going on here.
To really get what's happening, you have to completely change the way you think about these scholarships. Because, and this is the key, they aren't really scholarships at all.
Okay, so here's the big reveal. What we all call merit aid, it's not actually a reward for getting straight A's. And it's not financial aid, in the way we normally think about it. The reality? It's a strategic price discount. Think of it like a coupon the college uses to recruit the exact students they want to attract.
So you might be asking, what makes a student valuable enough to get this discount? Well, it's all about how they fit that particular school's goals for their incoming class. If a student's grades and scores put them in the top slice of applicants for that college, or maybe they're in a major the school's trying to build up, boom, they just became a prime target for these recruiting discounts.
And this all circles back to one simple, fundamental truth we often forget. Colleges, well, they're businesses, especially the private ones. They've got budgets to meet, professors to pay, buildings to keep up, and the main way they get that money is from tuition.
To make this whole business idea really click, let's use an analogy that I'm sure you're super familiar with. Let's talk about how airlines price their seats. Okay, so forget about ivy-covered walls for a second. Picture a flight from, say, New York to LA. Everybody on that plane, they're all going to the same destination on the same exact plane. But did they all pay the same price for their ticket? Oh, not even close.
You've got one person who was super on top of it, booked months in advance, and snagged a seat for maybe $150. But then the person sitting right next to them, they waited a bit, booked a few weeks out, and paid $350.
And what about that business traveler who booked like yesterday? They could have paid $700 or even more. And for what? The exact same seat, the same bag of pretzels, and the same landing spot.
So why does this happen? The airline isn't trying to be fair. Their goal is incredibly simple. Fill every single seat on that plane and make the most money they possibly can while doing it. That's it.
Okay, so what in the world does this airline pricing game have to do with college? Well, you're about to see.
Because believe it or not, colleges are playing the exact same game. They've got a certain number of seats to fill in their freshman class, just like an airplane, and their main goal is to fill those seats in a way that brings in the most possible tuition money.
The magic number they're all watching is something called net tuition revenue. Now, this isn't the big scary sticker price you see on their website. It's the actual amount of money they get from a student after all those scholarships and discounts are subtracted. To the college, that number is everything.
And this right here shows you exactly why a student from a higher income family can be so attractive to them. Let's run the numbers. Say the full tuition is $55,000 a year. The college offers that student a $25,000 merit scholarship. That sounds amazing, right? A huge discount. But look what happens. The college still collects $30,000. That's $30,000 in net revenue, which is often way more than they would get from a student who needs a lot more financial aid.
So it's just like the airplane. You've got students sitting next to each other in the exact same lecture hall, taught by the same professor, working towards the same degree, but they are paying wildly different prices to be there. It is literally the airline pricing model just applied to education.
Okay, so now that you get the game, the next logical question is, how do you win it? Or at least, how do you play it to your advantage? Well, that's where something called the alignment strategy comes in.
Basically, how do you become that passenger who gets the best price on the flight? How do you make sure you're the family getting that big discount instead of the one stuck paying full price? The key, as you might guess, is all about strategy and alignment.
It really breaks down into two simple but super powerful steps. Step 1. Align academically. This means you have to be smart about where you apply. You want to find schools where your student's profile, their grades, their test scores, puts them in, say, the top 20 or 30% of all of the applicants to that school. You become the student they're desperate to recruit. Then, step 2, align financially. This is about knowing the rules of the game, understanding how different assets and income are viewed by the financial aid formulas, and then making smart moves before you even start filling out those applications.
And that's really the secret sauce right there. When you have a student who is academically a perfect fit, someone the college really wants, and the family's finances are positioned in the best possible light, that is the sweet spot. That's when the magic happens and the colleges roll out their biggest discounts to make sure they lock in that student. And, of course, their tuition dollars. Ultimately, understanding this system flips the script. You go from being a passive applicant to a savvy consumer. It leaves you with one big question to think about. When it comes to college, are you booking the flight or is the flight booking you?